Imagine waking up one morning to discover that the richest person in all of human history isn't who everyone thinks it is. Not Jeff Bezos, not Elon Musk, not Bill Gates. Someone else. A figure so incredibly wealthy that when you try to compare him to today's billionaires, the numbers look like pennies. Today, you're going to find out who really was the richest man in history. And trust me, the story is going to blow your mind, spark your imagination, and maybe even change the way you think about wealth. Not Elon, not Bezos. Then who? Richest man ever is a claim that requires context. What does it mean? Richest in absolute wealth adjusted for inflation? Or richest in power, influence, and resources at the peak of empire? Most people immediately think of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates. But history stretches back to times when money wasn't digital and wealth wasn't measured only in bank accounts. Let's travel back more than 1,000 years to an empire so vast and powerful that its ruler's wealth was almost beyond comprehension. Mansa Musa, the legend of unmatched wealth. The person we're talking about is Mansa Musa I of the Mali Empire, who ruled from circa 1312 to 1337 AD. He is frequently cited by historians as the richest person in recorded history, and for good reason. Mansa means king of kings or emperor. Mali was one of the world's richest places at that time because of its gold and salt reserves. Gold was the Bitcoin of the medieval world, and Mali had it in overwhelming abundance. What made his wealth so extraordinary? 1. Control of gold mines. At its peak, Mali was producing half of the world's supply of gold. Think about that. A single empire responsible for such a massive chunk of the global supply. Every ounce extracted was under Mansa Musa's control or taxation. 2. Salt trade. Salt was as valuable as gold in many parts of Africa and North Africa, necessary not only for flavoring food, but for preserving it. Mansa Musa's Mali controlled major salt mines in the Sahara. This trade route was long, arduous, and dangerous, so the salt commanded high prices. 3rd, vast territorial empire and tribute system. Mali was enormous. It spanned across today's Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Niger, Burkina Faso, and even parts of Mauritania and Ivory Coast. Provinces paid tribute, supplies, labor, resources, all flowing to the center, enriching the emperor. 4. Economy, culture, and education. This wasn't just brute resource power. Musa invested in cities, trade, education. Timbuktu became a beacon of learning. Mosques, universities, libraries, wealth was channeled into infrastructure that outlived him. The pilgrimage that shook the world. Perhaps the most vivid testimony to his wealth is his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. Picture this, accompanied by tens of thousands of people, soldiers, officials, subjects. Caravans carrying gold, not just coins, but massive amounts of raw gold bars, gift-giving to the poor, donations to cities along the way. So much gold was distributed that he devalued gold prices in Cairo for years afterwards. The economic ripple effect lasted so long that gold's value dropped significantly in Egypt due to the sudden influx. That's how much wealth he was moving. During this journey, rumors spread across Africa, the Middle East, even Europe. Stories of a king with infinite gold, of generosity so extravagant it bent the economy. Putting the numbers into perspective, so how do we compare Mansa Musa to Elon, or to Bill Gates, or Jeff Bezos? Here's how historians and economists attempt to do this. Adjust his wealth into modern terms, using price of gold, share of world GDP, and other metrics. Some estimates place Mansa Musa's net worth at around 400 billion to over 500 billion in today's dollars. Hundreds of billions, possibly over 1 trillion, depending on how it's calculated. By contrast, even the richest modern billionaires hover around 200 to 300 billion dollars. But there's an even more profound difference: impact. Mansa Musa's wealth didn't just benefit him, it shaped culture, religion, education, trade routes, maps. Timbuktu became a center of scholarship. His reign encouraged architectural achievements, built lasting institutions. The mark of his wealth is literally still visible centuries later. Other contenders and comparison. To make sure we're not missing someone, let's quickly look at a few other names. Augustus Caesar, Emperor of Rome, said to have controlled 1/3 of the world's economy. immense but difficult to translate into comparable units. Emperor Akbar of the Mughal Empire controlled wealth and land, but still not quite on the scale of gold-rich Mali. John D. Rockefeller, modern wealth by comparison. Peak net worth estimates in modern dollars, $300 to $400 billion. Tremendous, yes, but still outpaced by the likes of Mansa Musa when adjusting for share of world economy. So when people say Elon Musk is the richest man alive, and arguably in history, they're neglecting two things: historical context and wealth adjusted for global share back then. What we learn from Mansa Musa. This story isn't just trivia, it's lessons. Here's what an ordinary person, maybe you, maybe me, can take away. Wealth creation is more than accumulation. It's about influence, legacy, culture. Musa built, didn't just hoard, power of investing in education and architecture. Timbuktu's legacy, books, schools, mosques, still inspires. Value beyond dollars. Spending treasure wisely can boost economies. Musa's generosity disrupted gold markets, not because he wasted money, but because he had so much to share. Wealth, when used, can ripple outward. True richness is measured not just by net worth, but by impact. How many people benefit? How many futures are shaped? The myth vs. the record. Now, you might think, this is a legend, maybe exaggerated. There's truth there. Some accounts are based in myth, stories passed down generations. But multiple historical sources, Arab scholars, geographers, traders, wrote about Mansa Musa's pilgrimage, his gold, the universities of Mali. We have maps that changed based on what travelers learned. There's archaeological and textual evidence. So while we can't pin exact dollars, the weight of evidence is heavy. Mansa Musa was unparalleled in wealth in his time, and when properly adjusted, likely in all human history. Comparing modern billionaires. Why isn't Elon the richest ever? Scale of global economy then versus now. Today's global GDP is enormous. But so are modern billionaires' footprints. Even so, their wealth is still less proportionally than Musa's was for his era. Inflation, scale, scarcity. Gold was scarcer, infrastructure less developed. Controlling gold meant you essentially dictated money supply. Musk doesn't own all the Teslas. Musa owned gold mines, trade routes, and the people who worked them. Economic systems. Modern wealth is often distributed in assets, stocks, tech. Mansa Musa's power was centralized, his wealth literally under his empire's control. Why this matters? I want you to feel curious, if not inspired, because knowing who was the richest ever isn't about envy or tallying up coins. It's about understanding what real wealth means across time, how impact, culture, generosity, learning, knowledge figure into the richest legacies. When you measure success today, do you measure net worth alone, or do you measure education built, lives changed, future inspired? The richest man in history wasn't Elon Musk. It was Mansa Musa, emperor, pilgrim, patron of learning, holder of so much wealth that his legacy resonates centuries later. Wealth beyond bank accounts. A wealth of legacy, of culture, and of human potential. If you found this story inspiring, smash that subscribe button, hit like, and share this video with someone who needs to hear about the richest man ever. The richest life isn't always counted in dollars, but in the footprints you leave behind.